Hi friends, hope you are doing well. In last video, I shared few ideas for selecting a good research topic. Today in this specific video, I am talking on a specific theme, research as a scientific inquiry. In this specific theme, I will try my best to discuss on the meaning and functions of the research at the beginning, and then I would like to discuss on methods of acquiring knowledge. Likewise, I will try my best to talk on different steps of scientific methods of conducting research. Likewise, I also try to discuss on characteristic of scientific research. Additionally, I will try my best to distinguish or differentiate between physical and social science research and also limitations of using scientific methods in studying social science. While talking about meaning of research, research is the process to discover new knowledge, and it is a careful and detailed study into a specific problem, concern, or issue, and research is undertaken to discover or establish facts or principles. Through research, we try to develop, try to refine, and try to expand of knowledge. And research uses a systematic process which is known as the scientific method. There are so many functions of research. While talking about the different function, research helps us answer questions, solve problems, and make decisions. Likewise, research also helps us discover new things and ideas. And it allows us to validate existing theories or generate new ones or to generate new theories. In the same way, resource help us to identify and understand the causes and effect of a situation. While talking about methods of acquiring knowledge, there are so many methods through which we acquire knowledge in scientific inquiry. And in this specific video, I will try my best to discuss specifically 4 different methods of acquiring knowledge. The first one, that is the rationalism. We know logic or reasoning is the key method of acquiring knowledge. Reason is the major source and test of knowledge, and we need to give the answer of why, which is crucial in acquiring knowledge. And another important method, which is empiricism. While talking about empiricism, we need to discuss on experience. Experience is the key source of knowledge. In acquiring knowledge, we need to analyze and interpret the experience of the people. Another important method of acquiring knowledge, that is intuition, which is a little different from rationalism and empiricism. Intuition is the ability to acquire knowledge without conscious reasoning. It is immediate understanding of the mind, and in intuition, the conscious reasoning is not essential. The another important method, that is authority, where a basis for acceptance of information. Because in scientific knowledge, knowledge is acquired from a highly respected sources. So while acquiring knowledge, we need to go through the highly respected source to gain the knowledge or to get the knowledge. And while talking about scientific methods, there are so many steps of scientific method. In this specific video, I will try my best to discuss on these 6 different steps of scientific inquiry. The first one, that is identification of the problem. Likewise, I will try to discuss on formulation of hypothesis. And in third step, that is collection of data. And fourth one, analysis and interpretation of data. And likewise, the fifth step, that is the findings and conclusion drawing. And sixth one, that is making theories and law. In first step, the identification of the problem, which is the foundation of scientific study. While talking about the problem, a problem is the gap of knowledge. something not understood. And while conducting any sort of research, before conducting any sort of research, we need to define the problem properly. We need to clarify the problem properly. And to define the problem, to clarify the problem, the causal observation and an idea regarding the existing amount of knowledge on the particular issue may help to define or to elaborate or to discuss the problem properly. And the second important thing, that is the formulation of hypothesis. And in its research, it is not essential to formulate the hypothesis, but in the case of quantitative research, we may develop the hypothesis. And while talking about the hypothesis, it is the primary idea which guides us in our study. And hypothesis is the tentative explanation of the phenomena. And it is provisional or temporary supposition or beliefs, which is not yet proved, but is anticipated to be correct. I try to give one example of hypothesis linking with the leadership in education. There will be significant differences across gender, ethnicity, and year of experiences of leaders and their leadership in education. In this specific hypothesis, there are two variables. One variable is related to demographic variable, which includes gender, ethnicity, and year of experiences of the leaders. And another one, that is the leadership behavior of the leader. And here is the statement: there will be significant differences across gender, ethnicity, and year of experiences of leaders and their leadership in education, which is the primary idea which guides us in our study, or it is the tentative explanation of the phenomena. And in qualitative research, it is not essential to develop the hypothesis, but in the case of quantitative research, we try to develop the hypothesis. And third one, that is the collection of data, either quantitative or qualitative or mixed method research. We need to collect the data to get the answer of the research questions. And when we develop the hypothesis, it is essential to test. The formulated hypothesis will have to be tested. And for this, it is necessary to collect facts. And in social investigation, and data will be collected by using different methods. Like we can collect the data through interview, we can collect the data through focus group discussion, or we collect the data by using the questionnaire, by using the questionnaire in survey, or by field observation, etc. By using different methods, we can collect the data. That is the third step of any scientific inquiry. And after collecting the data, we need to analyze the data and we need to interpret the data. While when we collect the data from different sources, the data, they must be processed and analyzed in order to draw proper inferences or conclusion. And in this specific step, we should conduct classification of data, that is arranging the data in different groups as per their nature, and we try our best to interpret the data. That is, we try our best to give the meaning of the data. That is the fourth step of scientific inquiry. And another very crucial step, the fifth step, that is findings and conclusion drawing. After analyzing the data, after interpreting the data, we need to draw the finding, we need to draw the conclusion. It means after the data have been collected, proceed and analyzed, we have to draw findings and broad inferences or conclusion or generalization. So this one is the basic fifth step of the scientific inquiry. And the sixth step, the very crucial step, making theories and law. When we test the theory, when we test the hypothesis, generally, when we test the hypothesis, theory will develop. And when theory is accepted by the community or by the society or by the large number of people, and that becomes the law. So hypothesis is generally formulated before the facts are observed properly and deals with narrow ranges of facts. Now, theory is a tested hypothesis and deals with wide range of facts. When a theory is well established and found to be correct, invariably it is regarded as law. So there is the relationship between hypothesis, theory, and law. So conducting any sort of research, we need to develop theory and we need to develop, and that theory may change into law. And these are the 6 different stages of scientific inquiry. And there are so many characteristics of scientific research or scientific inquiry. I will try to discuss different characteristics of scientific research. The first one, that is the objectivity, which is very crucial part of the crucial characteristic of scientific research. Objectivity is the concept of truth independent from individual bias caused by one's perception, emotions, or imagination. So, objectivity is the ability to see and accept facts as they are. And objectivity focus single truth. And in the case of natural science, we can find the objectivity, but there is the problem of objectivity in the case of social science. And the second important characteristic of scientific research, that is the very fiable. And in scientific research is able to be checked or demonstrated to be true, and it is accurate or justified. That is the key characteristic of the scientific inquiry. Likewise, the third important characteristic, that is the ethical neutrality. While conducting scientific research, only scientific research only seeks knowledge and do not force to use the knowledge, generally tells what is, but what should be, rather than what should be. Scientific research generally tells what is, but it does not tell what should be. So ethical neutrality, that is the key characteristic of the scientific inquiry. Likewise, the fourth important thing, that is the systematic exploration, and it has organized plan or a research design to collect and analyze data about the problem under study. And the fifth one, that is another important characteristic of scientific research, that is reliable. And it is replicable in the indicated circumstances in any place at any time, and scientific research will be reliable in the sense. Likewise, another important characteristic of scientific research, that is the accuracy, and there is the quality or state of being correct or precise in scientific research. And another important characteristic, that is the precision. And precision in scientific research, there is the attempt of obtaining precise and exact knowledge. And through the scientific process, we try our best to collect the exact knowledge, to try our best to collect the precise knowledge. And another important characteristic, that is the abstraction, and which is very crucial characteristic of the scientific inquiry. And scientific research tries to get the new ideas, new insights or views, instead of just describing the events and listing the findings. And likewise, there is another important characteristic, that is the predictability. In scientific research, findings predict the possibility for future. So these are the key characteristics of scientific research. And while conducting natural science research, it is easy to capture these characteristics, but while conducting social science research, it is very difficult to obtain this characteristic. We need to do a little more hard working while conducting social science research to maintain this characteristic using scientific inquiry or scientific method of investigation. So I try to discuss the differences between natural science and social science, and there is the differences between the natural science and social science. While conducting the research of natural science and while conducting the research of social science, we need to consider some specific differences between these two sciences. Natural phenomena are regarded as more precise, exact, and less uncertain. But in the case of social science, social phenomena are regarded as less precise, subjective, and uncertain. While conducting natural science research or social science research, we use the scientific inquiry or stages of scientific research, but a little more difficulty we can face while conducting the research in social science. And in the case of natural science, theories and laws of universal validity are established more easily and accurately. But in the case of social science, social scientists studies environment in which we live in and attempts to understand how people interact in given set of circumstances. So in social science research, we need to do a little more effort. We need to provide a little more effort to conduct the research. In the case of social natural science, the relationship between cause and effect is relatively more clear. But in the case of social science, the relationship between cause and effect is relatively more complex in the case of social science. For example, in the case of natural science, high temperature supports melting ice, where high temperature is the cause and melting ice that is the effect. It is very easy to distinguish which is cause and which is effect in natural science. But in the case of social science, it is very difficult to identify which is cause and which is effect. As for example, beggary is due to poverty or poverty is due to beggary. It is very difficult to identify which is cause and which is effect in the case of social science. So while conducting social science, it is a little more difficulty to get the truth or to get the real conclusion of the real answer of the problem. So there are so many limitations of scientific method in conducting scientific method in social science research, and I tried to list down some limitations here. First one, difficulty in the use of experimental method. In the case of natural science, we conduct the experiment inside a lab, inside a room. But in the case of social science, our lab is the society, so it is very difficult to handle the experimental method. So difficult, we can face difficulty while conducting experimental method in social science. But we can face a little more difficulty while conducting or while using the experimental design in the research. I already discussed there is the problem of identifying which is cause and which is effect in the social science research in comparison to natural science. So there is the interdependence of cause and effect. So there is the challenge. There is the challenge to identify which is cause and which is effect in social science research. Likewise, in the case of social science, data are intangible in nature. So intangibility of social phenomena, which is very difficult to get the real data, to get the authentic data. It is very difficult task for the social science researcher. And likewise, another important limitation, that is complexity of social data, because social data is subjective in nature, because we can generate the data from the mind of the people. So it is very complex in nature. So while conducting social science research will be when getting the social science data, we need to follow so many techniques, so many procedures by which we can get the authentic data. Likewise, there is the unpredictability in social science research, because social phenomena are the dynamics in nature, so it is very difficult to predict. And this one is another characteristic of the limitation of the social science research. Likewise, there is the problem of objectivity. By objectivity, we mean the specific, more specific, or in generally, we can say objectivity that tries to get the single truth. But in the case of social science, it is very difficult to get the single truth, and we can find the multiple reality in the society and multiple truth we can find. So it is very difficult to get the objectivity. So we can face the problem of objectivity in social science research. So these are the key characteristics of key limitation of the social science research. While conducting social science research, we need to consider these things properly. Thank you very much. for watching this video. Hope you will provide the feedback for the improvement. Thank you once again.